If you understand this one graph, this might make you richer than you ever thought possible. This is because the next 3 years might be absolutely epic in terms of stock market gains. Remember what happened to stocks after COVID in 2020 and 2021? It was absolutely insane. Well, the next 3 years are going to be even more insane because of this. Yes, understanding this dip and the recovery is the difference between making a little bit of money and becoming a millionaire. In this video, you're going to learn why stocks went up to the moon in 2020, 2021, why some stocks crashed afterwards, why the stocks are about to go on another run to the moon, and which stocks are the most likely to benefit the most. My name is Mariusz Konieczny, and I've been investing in the stock market full-time for 16 years. I'm also the founder of microcapexplosions.com, which is a private membership website for small and microcap stocks. We find unknown stocks before they become popular. In 2020 and 2021, you didn't need a job. You didn't need a college education to make money. All you needed was a Robinhood app on your phone. Stock after stock after stock was soaring. The riskier the company, the better. The bigger the losses, the better. To the moon. To the moon. There were lots of geniuses and lots of amazing management teams. However, was all of this they're doing, or was there another reason why so many stocks were soaring during that time? If you look at the graph of M2, you might find the answer to this question. M2 is the US Federal Reserve estimate of liquid assets, including cash on hand, money deposited in checking accounts, saving accounts, and other short-term saving vehicles such as money market funds and certificates of deposits. In other words, M2 is the money supply in the economy. Look at how fast it grew from January 20 to April 2022. It went from $15.4 trillion to almost $22 trillion. The largest increase in money supply in the history of the United States. This is when the Fed cut interest rates to 0% and the government sent out stimulus checks to households to prop up the economy. The result was a huge increase in US money supply called M2. Now, anytime you have such a massive increase in the money supply, this money has to find its home. A lot of it went into stocks, cryptocurrencies, real estate, and later into consumer goods. Yes, this is what created inflation. You see, inflation is not increasing prices. The word inflation means inflating the money supply, which then causes prices of everything else to increase. During that time, one of my stocks went from 20 cents to almost $4 per share. However, soon inflation was starting to become a challenge to many households, and eventually it became very clear that the Fed needed to do something. Consequently, the Fed started raising interest rates and sucking liquidity out of the system. The result? Well, M2 started to shrink. So completely opposite. Instead of giving people money to buy stocks, the system was taking away money from market participants. The result? Well, the stock prices of anything risky and not profitable started to look like this, or this, or this, or this. Only the biggest, the safest, the most profitable, and the most boring companies attracted the smaller pool of money. But this is now changing again. This time, the most risky, the most capital-deprived companies are going to soar to levels that will knock your socks off. Look at what is happening to M2 now. It is growing again. And notice that it is growing and the Fed didn't even lower interest rates yet. There is a correlation between interest rates and the money supply, meaning that when there is more money supply, the price of money or interest rates are lower. In other words, the money supply is already starting to grow again, and the Fed didn't really start cutting interest rates. What do you think is going to happen to the money supply when the Fed starts cutting interest rates? Exactly. It is going to be epic. This time, the growth in M2 and liquidity will make 2020 and 2021 look like a picnic. And you might ask, will the Fed cut interest rates? Well, Jerome Powell, the Fed chairman, is facing tremendous pressure to cut interest rates.
You were criticizing the Federal Reserve Chair before coming to this summit.
Yeah, I think he's terrible.
I was wondering if you've begun interviewing different candidates for the Fed pick.
Yeah, I know within 3 or 4 people who are going to pick. I mean, he goes out pretty soon, fortunately, because I think he's terrible. He's an average mentally person. I'd say low in terms of what he does, low IQ for what he does, okay? I think he's a very stupid person, actually.
It is just a matter of time. And if he doesn't cut interest rates, his term ends in May 2026, and he will be replaced by someone who will cut interest rates. Because M2 is already starting to grow, you can already start seeing it in some selective small cap stocks. Look at Aduro Clean Technologies with the ticker symbol of ADUR. I have been making videos about Aduro for 3 years. I told people, look at Aduro, and they would say,
"No, God, please, no, 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 no!"
I would say, seriously, this company will make you a millionaire. Response?
I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care. Let me tell you, we don't care.
Now the attitude towards more risky stocks is changing. And this is all because M2 is growing again. I made this video about Aduro Clean Technologies. At that time, I had $1 million invested in Aduro. And with the recent increase in the stock price, my position is closer to $3 million. I suspect that I will make between $30 and $100 million on this stock when M2 continues to grow and the Fed cut interest rates. There are 3 other stocks that I believe will soar soon, and right now people are like,
No, God, please, no, 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 no!
First is Oracle Resource Corp. Their chart is perfectly correlated with the growth and collapse of M2. When M2 grew, Oracle's stock price soared. When M2 decreased, Oracle's stock price collapsed. And now it got to a point where Oracle is trading for approximately 2% of the value of its asset called Santa Tomas Copper Project. Oracle's market cap is about $50 million. On August 20, 2024, the company announced after-tax net present value of $1.48 billion for its Santa Tomas project. However, because the price of copper is much higher today, the value of the project is closer to about $3 billion. Today, the price of copper is around $5 per pound. What do you think is going to happen to the price of copper when M2 continues to increase, flooding the system, and the Fed cut interest rates? $6 per pound, $7 per pound. So this project will most likely be worth $5 billion or more. But what do investors say today?
I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care. Let me tell you, we don't care.
That's how it always goes. They don't care until they care. When the money starts flooding the financial markets, they will chase it. But today, they don't want to pay 2% of the value of the asset. Another interesting stock is Charbone Hydrogen Corporation. About a year ago, the company received an independent valuation. The discounted cash flow analysis yielded a value of $1.3 billion. Do you want to guess what the market cap is today? $5 million. Again, today,
we don't care.
The bottom line is this: when money supply M2 is growing, the market participants have the money to play with. When M2 is shrinking, all they want to do is invest in safe and profitable, boring companies. Now, M2 is growing again and about to explode like it did in 2020. The choice is yours. Do you want to be where the puck is, or do you want to go where the puck is going? Oh, yeah, the idea number 3. Well, I can't tell you right now. The stock is halted because the company is acquiring a major asset and the exchange forced them to halt the stock. Probably in 3 to 4 weeks, it will be unhalted. And when it starts trading again, I believe that the stock will soar because now the market will know which asset they just acquired. So you're gonna have to wait 6 weeks for me to make a video about it, or you can sign up to microcapexplosions.com and you will find out before that. I will give MCE members 1 week after the stock unholds to buy as much stock as they want before I start making videos about this company on the public YouTube channel. With that being said, thank you for watching and see you next time.